Trust Me, I'm Lying. Confessions of a Media Manipulator by Ryan Holiday. Picture yourself on a quiet Los Angeles street corner at 2 in the morning. You're wearing black, clutching tape and stickers in your hands. Your girlfriend sits in the car nearby, engine running. What could you possibly be up to? You're vandalizing billboards. But here's the twist. These are your own billboards. You designed them. You paid for them. Why would anyone do that? Because you've discovered something powerful, a secret about how our world actually operates, about how the news we consume, the viral videos we watch, and the stories shaping our reality are often carefully orchestrated illusions. This isn't fiction. This was the real life of Ryan Holiday, a self-described media manipulator. He cracked the code on modern online media, especially blogs, recognizing them as ravenous beasts, constantly hungry for fresh content. And he became an expert at feeding them. He fed them lies, controversy, carefully constructed narratives designed to trick bloggers into deceiving all of us. He did this for best-selling authors, billion-dollar companies, and sometimes just because he could. Today's book, Trust Me, I'm Lying, is more than a collection of wild stories, though it delivers plenty. It's a genuine confession. It's your backstage pass to the digital world, revealing the hidden machinery that determines what gets seen, what gets shared, and ultimately, what gets believed. Holiday exposes a system where traffic reigns supreme, truth becomes negotiable, and outrage is manufactured for profit. This isn't some academic theory. Holiday lived every moment. He created nationwide protests for movies he was promoting. He fabricated leaks. He manipulated Wikipedia entries. He transformed anonymous tips into front-page headlines. His own words are blunt. I am, to put it bluntly, a media manipulator. I'm paid to deceive. But this goes beyond the tricks themselves. It's about the fallout. How this relentless machine of clicks and controversy destroys reputations, warps our sense of reality, and sometimes, tragically, ends lives. Holiday watched the monster he'd been feeding spiral out of control, turning against not just his targets, but truth itself, and maybe even himself. So get comfortable. Over the next while, I'll share the secrets Ryan Holiday uncovered. We'll explore how the online world operates, why certain things go viral, especially anger, and how shockingly easy the entire system is to manipulate. By the end, you'll never look at your newsfeed or a catchy headline the same way. You'll understand the game. And hopefully, you'll be wiser about which stories you believe and share. This is the hidden playbook, the dark arts of media manipulation, completely exposed. Lim. Host. So how does this whole game actually work? How did Holiday transform literally nothing into nationwide news stories, seemingly overnight? It begins with understanding the beast. Today's online media landscape, particularly blogs, forget that old image of someone typing alone in pajamas. We're talking about everything from major newspaper websites and massive platforms like the Huffington Post or Politico, down to smaller niche sites and influential Twitter accounts. They all face similar pressures. The engine driving everything is traffic, specifically page views. Most sites generate revenue through advertising space. Advertisers pay based on how many eyeballs see their ads, typically per 1,000 impressions. The equation is simple. More clicks equal more views equal more money. Traffic is revenue. This creates insatiable hunger. A newspaper fills its pages once daily. Cable news has 24 hours to program. But a blog? A blog has limitless space. The site publishing the most content the fastest usually wins the traffic war. Quality, accuracy, depth? Those often lose to speed and volume. One editor admitted looking for writers who can produce stories in minutes, not days. Real journalism experience? Just a definite plus. This pressure creates what Holiday calls page view journalism. Every decision filters through one question. Will this drive clicks? This changes everything. Take political coverage. Blogs know traffic spikes during elections. Elections mean money. But elections only happen every few years. The solution? Start the cycle earlier. Holiday points to Politico assigning a reporter to follow Tim Pawlenty almost 2 years before the presidential election, when he wasn't even an official candidate. Even the New York Times hadn't done that. Why did Politico bother? Because covering him essentially created him as a candidate. The coverage generated buzz, which led to more coverage, which legitimized him. Pawlenty eventually dropped out, but the blogs achieved their goal. Millions of page views, months of content, increased revenue. They manufactured an entire election cycle leg purely for profit. This cycle repeats everywhere. Blogs need content. Reality doesn't provide enough excitement. Blogs create or exaggerate content. Coverage makes the artificial seem real. Blogs profit. This traffic hunger also fuels an obsession with scoops. Being first drives traffic. Sites like TMZ built empires on breaking celebrity news, sometimes playing fast and loose with facts. Holiday mentions TMZ's infamous JFK photo scoop that turned out to be from Playboy. But they also broke real stories, like Mel Gibson's arrest or Michael Jackson's death. These massive traffic surges taught publishers a clear lesson: exclusives build blogs. The problem? Real scoops are rare and require actual work. So blogs perfected the pseudo-exclusive. They take ownership of stories others broke, often by reporting faster or louder, conveniently omitting credit. Holiday recounts how Gawker allegedly took Tom Cruise Scientology videos unearthed by another journalist, posted them first, and reaped millions of views while the original journalist got nothing. Building a brand off others? Backs. This desperate need for traffic and scoops brings us to the manipulator's core strategy: trading up the chain. This is how Holiday repeatedly turned nothing into something. It works because the media ecosystem is layered and, frankly, often lazy. Imagine a pyramid. Level 1, the entry point. Small, often local blogs or niche sites. They're hungry for content, usually understaffed, with lower verification standards. You plant your story here. Maybe it's slightly exaggerated, maybe perfectly positioned. Level 2, legacy media online arms. Online sections of newspapers or TV stations, like Forbes.com blogs or local CBS affiliate websites. They often use smaller blogs as sources. Standards might be slightly higher, but content pressure remains intense. A Level 1 blog covering your story gives it legitimacy. Crucially, these sites carry their parent company's logo and perceived authority, even with looser editorial oversight. Getting mentioned here lets you say NBC is reporting, even if it's just a blog post on their site. Level 3, national. The big players. CNN, the New York Times print edition, major network news. They monitor lower levels for buzz. If a story gains traction on Level 1 and 2 sites, may be trending on social media aggregators, like Reddit or Dig, where bloggers actively submit content, national outlets see proof the story has potential. They confirm the story smaller blogs broke, turning it into national conversation. Holiday used this exact process for the Tucker Max movie campaign. Remember the billboard vandalism? He leaked photos of his own vandalism to small LA blogs at Level 1. When he baited college groups into protesting screenings, local news crews showed up at Level 2, alerted by the buzz. Local news footage then got picked up by bigger city blogs, run by newspapers or the Huffington Post. With multiple links from Levels 1 and 2, he used fake email addresses to tip off national outlets at Level 3, asking things like, "How have you not covered this controversy yet?" The manufactured outrage became real news, leading to editorials in major papers like the Washington Post, mentions on page 6, and even national TV appearances. He created a self-reinforcing news wave. He even did this for charity. A friend needed Kickstarter funding. Following Holiday's advice, he made a YouTube video, exaggerating certain exotic elements for shareability. He placed it on a small Brooklyn blog, known to be sourced by the Huffington Post at Level 1. HuffPo picked it up at Level 2. Using a fake email, He sent the HuffPo links to a CBS reporter who did a TV piece, higher authority at level 2. He then leveraged pre-built Reddit connections to get the CBS story to the front page, a level 3 amplifier. This caught major cool stuff blogs like Boing Boing at level 3. Donations poured in. Nothing became something, funding the charity for 2 years. This works because of the link economy and delegation of trust. Traditionally, reputable news outlets could reasonably trust facts from other reputable outlets because they shared similar high standards. Blogs adopted this, linking heavily to each other. I send you traffic, you send me traffic. The problem? The assumption of shared standards is gone. A link on CNN might point to a Gawker story, which might point to an anonymous tip on a tiny blog. But the link looks like credible sourcing. It creates the illusion of authority. As Holiday discovered when CNN nearly reported a bogus American Apparel hiring story based solely on Gawker's piece, the chain is fragile and easily corrupted. The blue hyperlink seems supportive, but often points to nothing. So how does a manipulator like Holiday actually feed the monster at level 1 and grease the wheels for trading up? He developed specific tactics, exploiting the weaknesses and incentives of the blogging world. Tactic 1. Bloggers are poor. Help pay their bills. Many bloggers are poorly paid, often per post or based on page views. Some need millions of views just to keep their jobs. This makes them susceptible to indirect bribes. Free products for review, rarely disclosed. Commissions through affiliate links. Paid trips. Simply giving a blogger a story you know will generate traffic is payment itself, helping them hit quotas or earn bonuses. Holiday also notes the revolving door. Bloggers use their platform to build personal brands, hoping for lucrative jobs at bigger media companies or tech firms. Giving scoops or favorable stories helps build their name, buying influence cheaply. Tactic 2. Tell them what they want to hear. Journalists depend on sources, often self-interested ones, like PR people. Online, verification standards are often lax. Anonymous tips get taken at face value. Holiday exploited this by sending fake, leaked memos or images. Knowing blogs loved the exclusive or leaked angle more than truth, he realized blogs love press releases. They do the work for them. Pre-written content, clear angle, someone else to blame if wrong. He issued releases constantly, knowing they'd get picked up, syndicated automatically on finance sites, and optimized for search engines. He even manipulated Wikipedia entries, knowing reporters use it for quick research, inserting carefully worded phrases that would get repeated in mainstream articles. Tactic 3. Give them what spreads, not what's good. If it doesn't spread, it's dead. Blogs need content that gets shared, liked, commented on. Accuracy and importance are secondary. Holiday designed pitches around what he knew would go viral. What spreads best? Anger and other high arousal emotions. Studies show anger is the most powerful predictor of virality. Strong positive emotions work too, but sadness or complexity, not so much. Holiday uses the example of Detroit in ruins photo slideshows. The viral ones showed stunning, empty architectural decay. Why? They evoked awe, maybe anger, but crucially, they omitted the people, the homeless, struggling residents, stray animals. Including them would be depressing, a bummer, and bummers don't get shared. Holiday deliberately used high-valence emotions, like outrage and titillation in American Apparel ads, knowing the controversy itself would generate far more views as news than the ads could directly. He ran completely nude ads on tiny blogs, costing little, knowing the idea would explode across the web. Tactic 4. Help them trick their readers. Blogs love misleading headlines, especially loaded questions. Did Glenn Beck rape and murder a young girl in 1990? Of course not. And articles quickly clarify, but the click already happened. The question mark provides plausible deniability. Holiday played into this. As a fake tipster, he'd ask rhetorical questions, suggesting juicy scandals. As an official source, he'd give comments deliberately leaving room for speculation. He let bloggers run with the click-friendly angle, rationalizing their own deception. This tactic also leverages the desire for user engagement. Comments, shares, ratings generate more page views. Provocative or incomplete stories invite debate and angry comments, exactly what sites want financially. Practical, useful, or nuanced articles often kill engagement. Tactic 5. Make it all about the headline. In a one-off world, the headline is everything. It's the pitch. Holiday compares modern blog headlines to outrageous ones from the yellow press era. They must stand out against infinite competition. Accuracy is secondary to clickability. Blogs even A/B test headlines to see which performs best. Manipulators understand this. They craft pitches, leaks, or press releases with irresistible headline potential baked in, making it easy for bloggers to grab and run. Make it obvious, enticing, maybe even slightly too extreme so the blogger feels smart toning it down. Tactic 6. Kill them with page view kindness. Blogs obsess over metrics: page views, unique visitors, time on site, comment counts, social shares. Many sites display most popular lists, which then influence what editors assign and writers pitch. Holiday realized you could manipulate these metrics. If a blog writes about your client, drive traffic to that specific article using your own social media or website. This inflates stats, signaling to the blogger this topic is popular and encouraging future coverage. You can even use services to buy cheap traffic like StumbleUpon, sending thousands of clicks to an article, creating the illusion of organic interest. Blogs rarely check traffic sources, they just see the spike. It's an indirect bribe confirming the blogger's choices. Be warned, though. Once a blog sees a topic gets traffic, they may latch onto it relentlessly, even fabricating scandals when real news runs out. Tactic 7. Use the technology against itself. The very structure of blogging dictates its content. Posts are typically short, often under 500 words, sometimes just 1 to 200, because readers online scan, have short attention spans, and dislike scrolling. Content is stacked chronologically, meaning older posts quickly disappear, discouraging deep work. Research often means a quick Google search or checking Wikipedia. Contacting sources might just be a quick email or tweet. Manipulators exploit these constraints. They package stories to fit the format. Short, simple, provocative, easily digestible. They know bloggers lack time for deep verification, so they provide stories pre-packaged. The medium's limitations become the manipulator's opportunity. Tactic 8. Just make stuff up. Everyone else is doing it. This is the culmination. Pressure to publish constantly, find angles where none exist, and beat competitors means blogs often operate with stunning disregard for truth. They latch onto tenuous rumors, anonymous tips, or even Craigslist complaints as sources. They manufacture urgency. We're going live in the morning. To rush stories without fact-checking, small news becomes big news. Non-existent news becomes news. Holiday cites tech blogger M.G. Siegler, admitting much of what's written is bullshit. He gives the example of blogger Jim Edwards repeatedly misinterpreting American Apparel's financial documents, creating conspiracy theories that got picked up by other blogs simply because Edwards' blog carried the CBS logo, lending false authority. One blog's fiction becomes another's source, trading up the chain until the origin is forgotten and fiction feels like fact. These tactics paint a grim picture of how easily the online news ecosystem can be poisoned. But Holiday's story doesn't end there. He began seeing the consequences, the monster attacks, and it changed everything for him. He points to iterative journalism, the philosophy of publish first, verify later. Proponents like Jeff Jarvis argue it's learning in public, where the community helps correct errors. Holiday calls it a dangerous scam. It's driven by the need to be first and steal search traffic, rationalizing recklessness. Blogs publish rumors disguised with qualifiers like, "we're hearing," or "sources say," report about rumors instead of verifying them, and create feedback loops where speculation builds on itself. The myth of corrections is central to this. Iterative journalism assumes errors can be easily fixed with updates. Holiday argues this is false. Bloggers often resist admitting mistakes. Updates are often buried at the bottom of posts, seen by only a fraction of original readers. Worse, psychological studies show corrections can backfire, reinforcing original misinformation in people's minds. Damage is done the moment a false story publishes. It spreads too fast and sticks too easily. Holiday experienced this firsthand with the Irene Carmon and Jezebel stories. First, the false nail polish scare at American Apparel. Carmon published based on a leaked internal email before getting Holiday's statement, used a fear-mongering headline, and even after receiving the clarifying statement, only added it to the bottom, leaving the damaging and incorrect headline intact. The resulting firestorm damaged the small manufacturer involved. Then Carmon targeted The Daily Show with sexism accusations, relying on anonymous and old sources, publishing before speaking to current staff. Even after the women of the show published a strong rebuttal, Carmon gave it minimal coverage, ensuring the accusation got far more attention than the defense. It was manufacturing outrage for page views and personal brand building. Holiday realized he wasn't the only manipulator. He points to Andrew Breitbart and the Shirley Sherrod case. Breitbart released a deceptively edited video, making Sherrod appear racist. It exploded online, trading up the chain instantly, leading to her forced resignation before full context emerged, proving the opposite. For Breitbart, Holiday argues, it wasn't about truth or ideology, it was about provoking reaction, getting attention, feeding the media beast he understood so well. Even being proven wrong didn't matter. The controversy itself achieved the goal. Breitbart's protege, James O'Keefe, used similar tactics with heavily edited videos targeting Acorn and NPR. The deceptive editing was exposed later, but only after reputations were ruined and organizations damaged. The system enables a form of extortion via the web. Sometimes it's explicit, like the video producer threatening Danone with a negative viral video unless paid. Often it's implicit, blogs demanding special treatment, early access, or else risking negative or blindsided coverage. Companies live in fear of inaccurate rumors or manufactured scandals exploding online, forcing them into constant defensive PR or hiring reputation management firms. Snark also plays a destructive role. What seems like harmless humor often serves to shut down conversation, dismiss subjects without argument, and punish vulnerability. Holiday recounts using snark defensively for a client, but also seeing how it can be weaponized to destroy reputations, like what happened to Dilbert creator Scott Adams after a controversial blog post. Snark thrives because it's easy, gets clicks, and allows writers to feel superior without offering solutions. Ultimately, this online environment facilitates modern degradation ceremonies. Just as societies once used public executions or witch trials, blogs can single out individuals, amplify accusations, true or not, and orchestrate their public shaming and expulsion from the group. Holiday points to Julian Assange's swift downfall, whose public image flipped from hero to pariah almost overnight once sexual misconduct allegations surfaced, providing perfect fodder for takedown. The blogs didn't necessarily care about the truth of allegations. They needed a new narrative, and destruction sells. All this culminates in what Holiday, borrowing from Daniel Borstein, calls unreality. A world where the line between real events and manufactured pseudo-events like press conferences, product launches, or even leaked documents designed purely for media attention is hopelessly blurred, where news is shaped not by importance, but by clickability and spreadability, where misinformation, amplified by the interconnected but uncritical nature of the link economy and iterative journalism, can shape real-world decisions, from hiring practices to stock prices, to, as Holiday grimly notes with the Dick Cheney example, even going to war. Holiday concludes with disillusionment and a warning. He admits his own role in building and exploiting this broken system. He argues the fundamental incentives, the relentless chase for page views funded by advertising that doesn't care about quality, are flawed. He suggests models focused on reader value, like the New York Times paywall forcing them to produce must-read content, might offer a different path. He urges readers to be critical, to question the source and motive behind every story, to understand that information rarely finds you because it's important, but often because it was engineered to provoke a reaction. He fed the monster, and he argues, in many ways we all do, bloggers, publishers, marketers, and even readers who click and share without thinking. Recognizing the game, understanding the incentives, is the first step toward demanding something better, or at least, not being so easily fooled. Host. It's quite a journey, isn't it? From defacing billboards under cover of darkness, to pulling back the curtain on the entire digital media machine. What Ryan Holiday reveals in Trust Me, I'm Lying is unsettling, perhaps even deeply cynical, but it feels undeniably important. He paints a picture of a world where the very systems designed to inform us are often incentivized to do the opposite, to distract, to provoke, to sensationalize, all in the name of capturing our fleeting attention for profit. The monster isn't just the blogs or the manipulators, it's the ecosystem itself, built on a foundation of clicks and speed, where truth often becomes a casualty. The tactics he outlines, trading up the chain, exploiting bloggers, financial pressures, using headlines as bait, manufacturing virality through emotion, the whole iterative, publish now, fix later mentality, they aren't just theoretical. He gives concrete examples, confessions from his own career, showing precisely how the sausage is made. And it's often not pretty. But what strikes me most isn't just the how, it's the why and the what now. Why does this system persist? Because, as Holiday argues, it works, financially at least, for those who play the game well. And what now? That's the harder question. Holiday doesn't offer easy answers. He admits his own complicity. But his act of confession serves as a powerful call for awareness. He asks us, implicitly, to be more discerning consumers of information. What can we take away from this practically? First, question the urgency. When you see breaking or frantic updates, ask yourself if the speed serves you, the reader, or the publisher chasing clicks. Real understanding often takes time. Second, look past the headline. Headlines are designed to grab you, often by exaggerating or misleading. Read the actual article critically before forming an opinion or sharing. Ask if the content truly supports the sensational claim. Third, consider the source's incentives. Why is this blog covering this story this way? Are they driven by page views? Do they have a known bias? Are they relying heavily on anonymous sources or simply linking to other blogs without adding original reporting? Understanding the why behind the what is crucial. Fourth, be mindful of your own emotional reactions. Holiday shows how anger, outrage, and even strong positive feelings are deliberately targeted because they make content spread. If a story makes you intensely emotional, pause. Ask if that emotion is being manipulated. This book serves as a stark reminder that the digital world we inhabit is not a neutral space. It's a battleground for attention, and the weapons used often rely on exploiting our psychological triggers and the media's economic vulnerabilities. Holiday's journey from master manipulator to cautionary voice is a compelling narrative in itself, a peek into the engine room of modern culture. It leaves you wondering about the true cost of the free, instant information we've grown so accustomed to. That was a deep dive into Trust Me, I'm Lying by Ryan Holiday. We've journeyed through the core tactics and troubling consequences laid out in the book. But honestly, a summary like this, even a detailed one, only scratches the surface. The real power of Holiday's work is in the texture, the specific stories, the moments where you see the gears turning in his mind as he pulls off these manipulations, and later, as he grapples with the fallout. This overview is here to spark your curiosity, to help you gauge if this exploration resonates with how you see the world online. If you felt that nagging sense that something isn't quite right with how information flows, or if you're fascinated by the hidden mechanics of influence, then picking up a copy of the book itself is the next step. Reading it isn't just about learning the tricks. It's about fundamentally recalibrating how you consume media and understand the forces shaping public perception. You can find a link to the book in the description below. And if this journey through the often murky world of media manipulation has given you some food for thought, please consider giving this summary a like and subscribing to Billionaire's Bookshelf. We delve into powerful books like this regularly, aiming to extract the wisdom that can help us navigate our world a little better. Join us next time as we unlock the lessons from another impactful title. Let's keep learning and growing together.